Welcome back to the Vick's Flicks podcast, live on the road from the Indie Memphis Film Festival, recapping day 2. I'm your host for the show, the EIC at SoBrosNetwork.com, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Collectively, we are at SoBros Network on all major social media platforms. Come on in, jump in the comments wherever you're watching from, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let us know what you're doing on this fine Saturday. We'll just talk about your weekend plans on the show.
That's what I'd like to hear about.
We are joined today, of course, by the man whose namesake this show bears, the resident film critic of Sobros Network. He is a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association, member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association, Mr. Big Shot, Brandon Vick. Brandon, how are you doing on this fine Saturday morning in Memphis?
I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired too.
I'm a tad sweaty.
We've been going pretty hard the last couple of days, though. We haven't slowed down to stop moving. We've seen at this point we're on 6 films total and 5 podcasts. Well, 4 podcasts for us, and then I did the hot read yesterday. Yeah. So we haven't stopped moving a whole lot. It's starting to. We ain't as young as we used to be.
No, but we got a lot of shit done.
We did. Yeah, we did.
The good news.
And the other man with us this morning is our utility man at Sobros Network, Mr. Stephen McCash. McCash, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I just got notifications that my favorite website just went live, so I was wanting to share that with the world.
What's your favorite website?
SoBrosNetwork.com.
Oh, yes. How about that?
So I was just sharing with the world that they're live. I'm tired, and I only saw one movie.
Yeah.
But I stayed up and watched a circle on my Netflix feed.
Tough scene Netflix.
That was buffering for about 2 hours.
Well, here's the good news. They're not going to be showing live anything else. No football, no wrestling. So
they've just canceled it altogether. That's breaking news.
Good news.
Here first.
Yeah.
Good news.
Netflix was like, I'm sorry, we're too embarrassed.
Yeah.
Y'all go find other
So
homes.
are they going to like record the games and wrestling and send it out on DVDs and you just have to do it old school?
Get it in the mail.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
That would be awesome.
I'm cool with that.
So, McCash, what have you seen from the festival so far?
I've seen Boys Go to Jupiter.
Okay, yeah.
I have some films today and tomorrow to kind of catch me up with you guys. But and then there's some stuff virtually I want to go back and watch. I just got to plan out that time. You know, I'm a busy boy.
I hear you.
Battle of the Bones.
Battle of the Bones is tonight. Yeah, for those that don't know, it's the rivalry between Memphis and UAB, and they compete for a giant rack of ribs trophy.
I honestly didn't know that was a real rivalry, and I'm an alum of the University of Memphis. I just thought, hey, we just beat the shit out of UAB all the time. So
yeah. Well, before we dig in, I just want to give a shout out to the Holiday Inn Express here in Memphis. These beds are quite comfy.
They've
quite
really impressed us.
Yeah.
I don't really know what expectations were, but the breakfast is fine for a free breakfast, no problems. Bed feels great. A lot of friendly people that work here.
You do know where Holiday Inn started, right?
No, don't.
In Memphis.
Started right here.
This building.
We're in the original Holiday Inn Express.
Damn. Okay. Well, they have the best hotel coffee I've ever had, too.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't drink coffee, but
I'm just gonna lie down.
I'm just gonna say Z, our chef.
Yeah, Z's awesome.
She was a bit.
Z rules.
Can you hear me? I think I just got
There we go.
There
we go.
Somebody tried to get comfy and unplugged me.
Well, it's the headphone jack.
But she's our chef. She got a little sassy today. But
I wasn't going through line the right way.
Yeah. Well, we both weren't, because I was following you.
Yeah.
And she said, "Why don't you start over there?"
And then the second plate, I did start from right to left, but I had to go back to get gravy to pour on top of my plate.
What are you doing, guy?
She said, next time I want you to start from the right side. And I said, I did, but I got to come back to get the gravy. And she said, oh, maybe I should put the gravy on the other side then.
She said, Z, if you're not careful, there won't be a next time.
Yeah.
So I did not say that. I want the record to show I did not say that.
Well, Jonathan, who works at the front desk, was lovely yesterday.
Do you want to see if we can get him up here? Come on up.
He is working.
Tell him to bring a chair.
And I didn't get the lady's name who let me take that chair up here.
I didn't either.
Night, but
I didn't either.
She was a delight too.
I will say, when I was walking up, there was a gentleman who was walking up the street and then went in to the Holiday Inn looking like he was not staying here at all, and just
breakfast.
He got in line and got him some breakfast.
Yep, that's fine.
I've pulled that one before.
Yeah,
that's good.
I'll be honest.
Oldest trick in the book.
Yep,
oldest trick in the book.
That's fine.
Brandon, we got to sneak off a little bit yesterday away from the film festival.
Beautiful Malco Theater.
Yeah,
it's Ridgeway.
Germantown.
Yeah.
Not the Nashville Germantown.
No.
It was beautiful theater.
Yeah,
nicely decorated for the holidays.
it was.
Had real old timey kind of charm, and we saw a real pain, and it's been
Jesse
getting good reviews.
Movie that he wrote and directed and stars in, and Kieran Culkin.
I want to see that.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
but it's really good. It's just solid 90 minutes, but it's one of the best. It's one of the better, not better, one of the best films of the year.
Be a contender?
I think it will be. I think
he's getting buzz,
and there's some some writing or something like original screenplay maybe. I think there's some momentum there for sure.
We slammed some Aldo's pizza.
Nice.
Yeah,
Aldo's. I don't know how to pronounce
Aldo's.
it. Okay, Aldo's.
Tomato.
Yeah,
it's good.
It was good, but that's all the local fare we had, unless we want to count the toasted ravioli I had at the Ridgeway.
That counts.
Yeah, it was good.
Counts.
It was good enough. Got the job done.
We haven't had any. Well, we haven't had any like movie popcorn yet.
I can't say that.
You had
a giant tub.
I devoured a giant
and
tub.
he had that barbecue one, whatever was in our bag
from the Rendezvous.
Yeah. Oh man, bag. It was good. Good snack.
But
yeah.
I was just thinking, like,
Indie Memphis
last night.
takes care of the critics, man.
Yeah.
They do. They've been really. It's been a great experience.
Yeah.
It hasn't been. I kind of like that it hasn't been overly crowded, and you got to stand in lines to get in.
Yeah, it's been really chill.
In the parking lot and not have to pay.
Everybody's been super nice, super helpful.
It seemed very appreciative too when we went to go get our badges.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't know her name either, but
yeah,
she was like, "Well, we really appreciate. We had to scale back this year, but and like I don't know. Everyone just seems very thankful and nice."
Well, one thing people can do who are a fan of film festivals is help this one out by donating money to it, so they can get big name movies. Like last year, my first year covering the theater. I mean, the festival, they had Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage, Anatomy of a Fall, American Fiction, Robot Dreams as well.
Oh yeah,
they had a great lineup last year.
Yeah. Well,
and next year, I'm looking forward to seeing what next year brings. To
I would make this trip every year to cover this festival.
It's an easy trip for you guys from Nashville.
Yeah. Love Memphis content too. I'm excited to get into the travel and food aspect of it. But the festival itself has been it's just been super easy is the word I would describe. And
it's been laid back
to do what we do. I love it when a festival's easy because it makes everything else so much smoother and simpler for us.
And what we do. Fight traffic going to Franklin to see a movie.
Yeah. It's not spread out all over town. Like I like that. Yeah. I like what they're doing here.
Me too.
So let's dig into the two films that are 5 films we'll be talking about today. I think we'll start with the one that all 3 of us saw, Boys Go to Jupiter. Who wants to kick us off with their thoughts on that one?
I could do it.
Go for it, Brandon.
I loved the animation. I don't really know how to explain it more than just like the old video. What was
it looked like an indie video game you would download off of like PlayStation.
Yeah, it's very bright and colorful.
Yes.
But it was really back and forth with me. This is essentially just a coming of age story about this kid really just trying to get $5,000 so he
high school dropout.
Yeah, so he can just go and get his own place. But it's way more than that. It's a lot stranger than that. But I liked it, and then there would be times where I didn't like it. There would be times where
that was my experience too.
It was really interesting. It was funny. Then there's times where it's not funny. I'm bored, and it felt like we kind of did that dance for for an hour and a half.
I really liked the design of it, the color.
Yep.
I thought it was a really interesting animated depiction of Florida. And I thought the
Yes.
colors were a really nice homage to the Sunshine State.
Yes.
And I really loved the sound, and the music was just awesome to me. I love the synthwave, deep, like droning vocals and that sort of stuff.
It
and
is
I just
played like a video. Like it
Yeah.
really, like if you close your eyes and you just listen to it,
yeah,
it kind of sounds like some of the old video
Mhm.
Well,
games,
it's like
much less looking like
when
it.
you're playing a video game and you get to a certain part and there's like a scene you have
Yeah.
to sit through.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like they took all of the play aspect of the game out and just made a movie of it.
Yeah.
for sure.
And if you want to picture the colors for not seeing the film, picture a Taco Bell in the 90s.
Oh,
great
that's a
great
good-
comparison.
that's a
And
good
that's the
depiction.
colors of
Yeah.
this movie.
But I caught myself thinking like this would be like a 5 out of 5 movie if I had 17 beers at Chili's before we came here.
I mean,
Like I don't do drugs, but that's the kind of movie that like I feel like you do drugs
I heard
before you
someone
watch.
behind us when we left. I heard him say, "I should have taken that edible."
Yeah, yeah.
I just heard people behind me talking throughout the whole fucking movie,
Yeah.
ruining half of
I
the
think it
film for
was
me.
specifically one
Person.
woman who, like, I heard him talk about like whatever those those kids were.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, I have this kid. Like, and she has one of those voices that even like there was times where I don't know what she said, but it's like a humming in your ear. Like
Yeah.
I can just hear.
You just want
Yeah.
to swat at it.
voice.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did think there were components of the story in this film that just felt a little unnecessary. It felt a little bloated, and it wasn't even that long of a movie to begin with.
It's
No.
90 minutes, but it feels like you're sitting through like Oppenheimer.
It does. Yeah, it does.
There are times where it's like,
It's just a lot
Where
that
are we,
you don't
like-
need.
and then by the time it wraps up, and I won't give anything away, but it's just like I don't know if I'm really.
I like the weird. I like the off the
I
rails.
did.
I'm okay with the way that it ended,
I
but
don't even mind with some of that, but I think it's because there's other scenes where I feel like we're trying to keep some sense of reality.
yeah,
And I
Yeah.
get that this is not like the real world.
No.
I'm clear
But
on that, but
it really jumped the shark.
but yeah, I just I don't know. I think with the tone is kind of all over the place, but the animation and everything really kind of keeps you immersed in it. But that, like, I think the biggest compliment is the look and the style of it. I'm
Yeah.
not the story. I'm not all the way there.
I don't
Yeah.
even hate the story aspect of it. I just hate the pace and how
Yeah.
Pacing is an issue.
bloated and mismatched some of the things are. Like we really take our time with some things, but then others we're just breezing through onto the next scene, and it kind of creates this disconnect where you end up feeling like, man, there's a lot of stuff in here that is too slow burn that we're spending too much time on.
Yeah, and like when he goes to the dolphin factory,
Yeah,
a little bit of that, and then the guy,
the putt-putt course.
yes, the
Yeah.
guy at the
Yeah.
putt-putt course. I
Yeah.
just thought, I don't even know why we're doing this.
And then you have this subplot of our main character maybe having a love interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that love interest has her own love interest.
Yep. Yep.
And then
Which I don't even remember them seeing each other.
I don't think there's a point in the whole film where they ever see each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they,
Maybe at one of their things where she might see them once.
yeah, maybe. If
Yeah.
it happened, I don't
Yeah, I would
recall
say
it.
I can't even really remember, but I feel like they were all in a group and then they separated.
And then you get the supernatural love interest at the end,
Yeah.
which made no sense.
And
at
you
all.
get that hidden spaghetti guy who's a spaghetti critic.
Yeah. I want to be a spaghetti critic, by the way.
well,
That would be
sounds awesome.
I'm
that'd be a
cool
good
with that.
job. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a mixed bag for me.
The thing I noticed first in the film was when the opening credits are rolling, I see Janine Garofalo's name. And I was like, oh, there's somebody I know.
Yeah.
Because, she's not the household name she used to be when I was
No.
younger. But then after the film, during the whole film, I think all three of us were like this for a while. We're like, which one is Janine Garofalo? Because
Yes. Yeah.
she
I
doesn't
don't
sound like
too.
herself.
I only had one guess, and it ended up being right after it was over, because everybody else just sounded young, like sound like kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if she's not this person, I have no idea who she's played.
Yeah.
But then I looked at the cast afterwards, and I was like, oh, there's some heavy hitters in this film, like Elsie Fisher.
That's
Mhm.
From grade 9? Is that what it's called?
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade.
But then she's been some of voices within the Despicable Me movies, and she's done some other stuff. But yeah, that's the first name I noticed, actually.
Julio Torres, who did Problemista. Was that what it was called?
Yeah. He was
T-Bone.
That's right.
And then the gas station guy.
And the Brontosaurus.
And the talking Brontosaurus, yes.
Yeah.
And then my surprise, and I'm so excited she's in this film because I just absolutely adore her, but Sarah Sherman, who's on SNL. She's like the really quirky, short-haired girl.
Yes.
I
knew that
she was
name looked familiar.
The beatbox kid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I will say, I think the voice cast is stellar, and everybody involved in that movie, they were game. Like they knew the quirkiness and the weirdness, but also this kind of romance and this, some type of mystery to it as well. But yeah, there was too many times where like you pull me in and then I'm like totally disconnected from it. And it just felt like, and what felt like more than 90 minutes of that going on, it didn't totally land with me.
This seemed like something that would have been perfect for like 30 minutes on like Adult Network. Was it
Adult Swim? I thought the
Yeah.
very same thing. I'm like, this is like an Adult Swim movie.
And then I wonder, like, was this a short that then then they wanted to make it a 90-minute? Because sometimes when you run into some of these issues, they're like, that's what happens, is that was a short that they built upon. And that's when you start adding stuff that is unnecessary.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, let's talk about the second movie that we saw, Brandon. Dory Previn, On My Way to Where. It's a documentary about musician Dory Previn and her struggle with schizophrenia. That's
what they say.
I felt like this film was more or less like the life and times of Dory Previn, and less a documentary about mental illness and combating schizophrenia and still functioning for what was a very successful music career. So I was unfamiliar with Dory Previn before going into this documentary.
Me too.
I read the blurb about it, thought it sounded interesting, thought, that's one I'd like to check out. And I just don't feel like that was what I expected. And there's a large focus on the music and the life. And I just don't feel like we ever got to a spot where we really talk about how she got through the schizophrenia beyond like just the clips of writing.
Well, she talks about how the only really insight you get to that is she talks about her therapy while she was committed was with the typewriter, and they kind of go on from that, and then with the lyrics they kind of write them on the screen for you to make sense of, because I failed, because then I stopped caring eventually. But I'm the same way. But it's not even so much about her life, it's really her career, mainly with her husband Andre,
which they were only married for like 11 years.
Yes. And then he left her.
For who?
Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
And that was it. So we learned that part of her life. And their huge success, worked on a lot of very significant Hollywood musicals, got nominated for Oscars. And then we kind of just skipped to the 70s. Where she... Like, I know they show a couple things from the 60s, but then with Mia Farrow, and then that's it. Like, there's no really, like, she writes about it, sings about it, but we don't get anything else. And then he's never mentioned again until the end. Like, it would nice to know, like, did they ever did they ever meet again? But they showed the letter from him when she, because
did they talk about she got remarried? Did they?
They did.
Okay.
They did talk about that. And
Yeah.
it's mainly about her 70s and those albums, and then the 70 to 77, I think. And that's not my kind of music, and I don't even think it makes sense, but people loved it somewhere.
It was it is pretty astonishing that so many people were interested in that. And they do kind of talk about how
they're talking like Joni Mitchell, and it was kind of the rise of where, like, what did the lady say, that people cared about what women felt or something.
But it was really interesting to see how some of the things that she was saying in her music, they touch on it with the record executives telling her, like, there's no way we can release this stuff. Like, listen to what she's saying. Like, this is,
some of it was bleak and dark.
And I was kind of fascinated by the idea that she still got the traction to make all these records. That is just some of the lyrics, like it sounds like schizophrenia.
But then it's like, and you have a sense of maybe where this is coming from.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that we don't even really.
They say a line.
Try to dig into.
It's just like,
So I wasn't familiar with her, and I didn't get to see the documentary. So I was like, you said her music's not your cup of tea. So,
in the 70s.
Yeah. So I was like, what is she? And then I looked up, she's like a singer-songwriter type.
Yeah.
And I just happened to pull up on her debut album, and there's a song called With My Daddy in the Attic.
Yeah.
There you go. That's part of it.
So I'm just scrolling through the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, I think this is about child molestation.
Well, they don't really go into that. The song is in it, but it was mainly her dad wanting her to be this famous actress.
My bad.
Oh my God.
Audio's playing through the computer. Making sure the stream's up. That's all. I
don't think there's ever any. Was there an indication that maybe she was
abused?
I could be reading into these lyrics.
He did basically wanted her to be famous. Clearly there was issues there. But again, there's so many things that are just, even if they're mentioned, but they're certainly not explored. And then there's some things that we only focus on this when, I mean, like the plot says, it's all, you think like we are, I mean, obviously we're going to know about her achievements, accomplishments, and a little bit about her personal life. I think it was mainly with her husband, which, flooded into her work. But the reason she got dumped, and then she meets this other guy, which they do interview him, and it's, but, and then that's really it. I mean, I think I definitely heard more about her fear of flying than I did about her mental health.
Yeah.
But I thought it was about her kind of being open about it. So the voices is what? Mama,
Max, and the lion.
Yeah. And there's interviews where she's talking about them, but we don't even like, why? Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it these three? When did it happen? What happened when you got committed? Because clearly her career took a tumble, and apparently it was in between, like after Mia Farrow and when she started doing these albums. And Stoney, we were talking about it, and Stoney's like, I don't even think the word schizophrenia is mentioned until maybe 15 minutes before it ends.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. By
the way, this is an hour and 20-minute movie, so it's not like we couldn't have maybe done, sprinkled some kind of more in-depth stuff about her condition.
Yeah, there's a lot of time spent on the fear of flying. There's a lot of time spent on the crashing of the Hindenburg. There's a lot of time spent on lyrics, showing her kind of playing on stage. And like, even then, like, I don't feel like, I don't know. I felt like it might have been a breadcrumb to some of her other lyrics.
Yeah.
And we don't really get to like the source of the trauma all that much. There's just a little montage about her dad pressuring her into becoming a star at a young age. And
we kind of get a little childhood stuff, but it's like about 40 minutes in.
And there's a lot of time spent on the Mia Farrow stuff. And that's why I say
showing her and them her being pregnant.
Yeah, and that's why I say it felt more like the life and times of Dory Previn than it does a musician struggling with schizophrenia, trying to make it through.
And the whole thing is, I thought, because she's dealing with this during a time where clearly it's not acceptable, and we get a taste of it when she defines madness.
Yeah,
but I wish there was more of that. Like,
Me too.
I'd like to know
Me too.
what she's
Yeah.
feeling more, and I guess that's where those songs come in. But I'm not getting that connection. I feel like the whole thing is more than an arm's length. You're not really. You're learning.
That's a great way of putting it.
Wikipedia stuff.
Yeah.
When it kind of feels like it's a letdown because you think you've been promised something that's maybe going to be more insightful and introspective, more than just like, well, we did this and married my husband. Then we just go through until, she's in her 80s and we're done. So
yeah. We didn't do a star rating for Boys Go to Jupiter. So if you guys want to think about that, Makash,
I have it in my letterbox
for
already.
For the time being, do you have one for Dory Previn, On My Way to Where, Brandon?
Yeah, I would give it 2.
I'm with you. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Yeah. What about Boys Go to Jupiter? To go back to that one,
I've got 2.5.
I've got 1.5.
Out of 5.
My 1.5 is strictly for the voice actors
Sherman.
and the look of the film.
Yeah, I got.
Now, what's weird is that, and there's a little bit of the story I liked, and that's what got me to 2.5.
Okay,
I'm at 2.5 as well. Do we want to talk about Christmas Eve at Miller's Point?
Yeah.
All right. What did you think of it? You didn't see that one, right, Makash?
I had tickets to it, but I decided to be a good husband last night and hang
Good
out
call.
with my wife.
Good call. Good call. This is pretty easy one for me.
Well, you start.
I just, if you like looking at Christmas decorations, it's a festive feeling kind of movie. If
it's more a vibe and atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of drama in the family. It's basically a family getting together on Christmas Eve. Clearly, everybody kind of has their own issues. Their mom's passed away, and there's basically the only thing that's really, I guess, that it's about is there's mention of he's going to sell their mom's house.
Yeah.
The other siblings aren't, but it's not. It's not really the family drama you think it is. It's not a comedy either.
Yeah, I didn't think it was very funny.
There's a lot that it doesn't really.
It kind of just feels like you're spending Christmas Eve with someone else's family, and that's about it. And nothing ever really happens.
No, and it's got. I mean, I loved. I think it's more about the atmosphere, and obviously it's November, 'tis the season.
Yeah,
but it's a different kind of Christmas movie. It's just, there is a lot where it feels like nothing happened and that it is boring.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you get glimpses into characters and them. And then like one of the kids, she does run away and some of it seems like it's a bit of like parts of it self-discovery. A lot of it is kind of the family drama, and there's a lot of reflection on it. But you're not really, you're not totally involved in any of the characters, and it's all really just one night, really, or I guess one day. So you don't really get much. You don't really get much out of it. It looks like you said, if you want to have that feeling of Christmas and kind of like, when all the family comes over and they're all. They all have their different opinions. It seems like no one ever, not everybody gets it. Like, it's got that energy. It's got that liveliness. But then as far as the story, I don't really know if there is one.
Yeah.
I will say I saw this on Twitter and I thought, you know what? If you have this if you come at it with this approach, I think you can maybe at least appreciate it a little more. This was from Isaac Feldberg. He says Tyler Teramina's Christmas Eve in Miller's Point is a mosaic of memory, an impressionistic portrait of Silent Night.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying I totally agree with it, but reading that and thinking back on it, that makes more sense, and maybe that's where the filmmaker was going with it. I do think memory plays a big part, but I still fall back on, I still don't really see anything that intriguing going on, and I don't really know what it had to say.
Yeah, when the schedule came out, I had that listed as one of the top ones I wanted to see because reading about it, it kind of gave me like This Is Where I Leave You vibes, but at like Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'm excited because I love that movie, Jason Bateman and everybody else that's in that film.
Mm-hmm.
But now that hearing you guys talk about it off air and on air now, I'm like, okay, I maybe dodged a bullet.
Yeah, it's really just that feeling of Christmas Eve. That's about all I really walked away with.
Did you feel it in your fingers and in your toes?
No. Call back to episodes that haven't even aired yet.
I did not.
Come back to this episode in a couple of weeks. And you'll get that reference.
Yeah, so that leaves us with what? I know you saw Black Box Diaries. I didn't see that. McCash, have you seen anything else for them?
No, my big heavy hitters are later today.
Today, and then, I mean, I know we've technically talked about Memoirs of a Snail, because that was at Nashville, but that is playing tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Crosstown.
Yeah, at Crosstown, and that's going to be a heavy hitter.
Yep, and then there's Flow. That's going to be another animated one.
Yeah,
that one I'm really excited about.
That it's really good. No dialogue. The animation is fantastic. It's kind of end of the world, and this cat joins up with these other animals, and it's really well done. It's very different. Not different like Boys Go to Jupiter different.
And it looks like a video game as well without the gameplay.
It does. But the nature and stuff, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And Memoir of a Snail is a different kind of animation, but it's really good too. Memoir of a Snail, like I said, is one of the best animated, one of the best movies of the year, I think.
I still have the Mark Gasol documentary that I've got from the virtual cinema that I should I'm going to be able to watch hopefully tonight after we've all kind of settled in for the evening. But that leaves us with Black Box Diaries. So if you want to send us on home.
It's really good. It's very powerful. It is in line with kind of the Me Too movement that happened in America, but this was going on in Japan about a journalist who was drugged and raped by a high profile person in the government. And it's her fight to get justice. And it starts with her coming out, showing her face, going public. And then it's kind of the fight. She wrote a book on it called Black Box. And it's her trying to cope with it, her trying to find peace with it, her trying to find justice for it, hold those accountable, get those responsible. There are people that are scared to come forward. There's other people who are brave enough to come and help her. But it's really, it's her journey through this horrific event. And, unfortunately, it's one of many stories that we now know of. And again, this happened before Harvey Weinstein stuff broke in America. So now that is addressed in the movie, and it does kind of give her chances a boost as well. But it's really about other people that were involved that come forward. And anyway, it's sad, but it's also, and it's infuriating and it's frustrating, but it is about determination and perseverance. And it does have, it is about hope, because it's she is very, the subject who's doing this, who directed it. You can't get any more vulnerable than this. But it was quite powerful, and it's been on a lot of kind of end of the list nomination stuff for documentaries. And so I'm hoping it continues to get more recognition and let the story be told. But I liked it. It was very effective, and it's a fight that countless women are still going through, but this single one does leave you with hope, and that if you just can't stop fighting. Yeah. And it's easy to do it. The people make it very easy for you to do it, that don't want to hide it, want to cover it up. And, but I don't know. It was very courageous, very brave for her to come out when she did, much less now with the book. The book is in the documentary. Now you have this documentary. So it was It was good.
Star rating?
I would give it at least 3.5, maybe 4. I'm still kind of
Okay.
but well worth. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best of the film festival. For sure.
So what's on the agenda for today?
Well, we're all going to go see Bonjour Trustees. It's actually a 1958 movie. Being redone, and I think it may be based on a play.
I thought you were saying this adaptation of it was from 19. I was like,
no,
I don't think Chloe Sevigny was alive in 1958.
But when I was looking something up, I kept seeing this one, and I was like, oh, it's been done. Which I think it actually I think it is a French film in 1958 version,
and it's getting multiple screenings this weekend.
Yeah, it's got a few, and then I think we're going to go see The Homie, which is another documentary that's been getting a lot of buzz here lately. I've been seeing it on a lot of lists. I'm
going to Flow.
And you're going to Flow, and then you're seeing Nickel Boys tomorrow night, that's the big one.
The wife is going to see Rent Free tonight while I'm at the football game.
Yeah. Rent Free, which is one that I think we're going to be missing out on. But I've heard good things on that one. That's good comedy.
So, but Nickel Boys tomorrow night, is that at Studio on the Square or is that at Crosstown?
That's at Crosstown.
Crosstown. So that's going to be the big one for Indy Memphis. So.
Is that an A24? Because I know there's a couple of A24 films.
I think that one is A24. Okay.
We did find out that Christmas Eve at Miller's Point is IFC.
That is IFC.
I don't know if we actually said that on the air that it was A24.
But you and I think
we talked about it. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they actually when we went to see A Real Pain, they showed a preview of Nickel Boys.
Okay.
Well, that's going to do it for us this morning. Day 2 has been recapped.
There we go.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on this fine morning as I record from a comfy hotel bed at the Holiday Inn Express.
You're in a position of receiving right now.
I am
moving all around that bed.
Well, it's really hard to get comfy and
spent 10 minutes talking about how comfortable the beds are.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
got audio gear. I've got a laptop that is overheating. I'm trying to keep from shutting down.
Devices weren't here, I'd be sleeping like a baby.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen, where can our viewers find you on social media?
On Twitter at MC_Cash75, on Letterboxd at just simply Stephen McCash, and you can find me walking in Memphis.
How about that, Brandon?
Hey, Twitter at Sir Brandon V, Letterboxd Sir Brandon.
And I'm at Stony Keeley. I think I'm at Stony Keeley on Letterboxd too. I don't remember. I need to get my Letterboxd handle.
If they type in
there.
Your name, I'm sure they'll find you.
And then at Sobros Network everywhere else, sobrosnetwork.com for all of our work. Rate, review, subscribe to the Vick Flicks podcast. That is going to do it for us live on the scene from Indy Memphis 2024. For the utility man, Stephen McCash, for Mr. Big Shot, Brandon Vick, I am Big Natural Stony Keeley. And until next time,